Is it fair to say after the 2026 midterms, you're going to give it serious thought?
Yeah, I'd be lying otherwise. I'd just be lying, and I can't do that.
There you have it. Governor Gavin Newsom isn't the only Democrat, though, considering a White House bid. Our partners at BBC News spoke with former Vice President Kamala Harris, and Harris hinted her party should not count her out for 2028.
In their lifetime, for sure. Could it be you? Possibly. Have you made a decision yet? No, I have not. I have lived my entire career a life of service, and it's in my bones. And there are many ways to serve. I've not decided yet what I will do in the future beyond what I am doing right now.
There you have it. Joel Payne and Kevin Sheridan join us now. Joel is a CBS News political contributor and Democratic strategist, you see on the left. And Kevin is a Republican strategist and former RNC spokesperson sitting on the right. Good morning, gentlemen. Welcome to you both.
Good morning.
So Joel, I want to start with you. How would a Harris matchup against Newsom impact the Democratic primaries, do you think?
I think, Errol, what we're hearing is just a kind of a political moment where a lot of folks are not going to discount themselves from a future run. It would make sense that Kamala Harris would say, hey, I might run again in the future. It would make sense that Gavin Newsom would say, hey, talk to me after 2026. I think what's more remarkable and what's more interesting is the fact that I look at 2028, it's going to be a wide open field. I worked the 2008 presidential cycle where you had, Joe Biden, John Edwards, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, that type of a star-studded cast that ran for the Democratic nomination in 2008. I think you could have a similar, very, very high-end field of Democratic candidates going into 2028, 20 years later. So they could be candidates for sure. I'm not actually sure that Kamala Harris was talking about 2028. I think she was talking about the future more broadly.
And Kevin, what do you make of this? Would either Harris or Newsom be welcomed to Republicans? And we should note it's so early. I mean, Donald Trump was seen as a dark horse candidate before rolling away with it. So anything could happen. But how would Republicans view this?
Well, first off, on that Gavin Newsom clip, that was the funniest clip I've seen in a while. He said, I'm not going to lie, I couldn't do that. He lies all the time, obviously. But look, Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris do not scare Republicans. But, the one thing that Republicans should fear is complacency among low propensity voters who turned the election for Donald Trump in 2024. We've got everything right now and, feel like we've got all the momentum and it's just a matter of looking over at the other side and seeing these very weak candidates that we see. But look, our voters have to turn out. And, without Donald Trump at the head of the ticket, that remains to be seen what an electorate looks like in that case. So, yeah, complacency is our biggest threat.
Yeah, and Mr. Trump has not ruled himself out, we should note, with those Trump 2028 hats. Kevin, I want to ask you about New York City's mayoral race. It's in the national spotlight. This is the country's most populous city, and more than 160,000 New Yorkers have already voted. You got Mamdani comfortably in the lead. What does that tell you?
Well, this is where their party is. Look, if Andrew Cuomo hadn't run, I think they would have had a normal Democratic candidate beat Mamdani, but he's got so much baggage that Mamdani looks like he's going to cruise to victory now without Sliwa getting out of the race. Look, the Democrats are a party of the groups. They are beholden to the HRC and the teachers' unions, and that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a hard left experiment in New York City. We've seen what it does to the city before. I grew up, in Connecticut and going to New York in the 80s. It was not a good city. It was a dump. And if he returns New York to that, then Democrats are going to have to pay for it. And I know Republicans are cheering this on in some ways. I don't think they should be. This is our greatest city. We should not be hoping for its demise in any way.
And Joel, Mamdani has had a double-digit lead in the polls, as I mentioned. Took him a long time to get the support of New York's governor and other prominent Democrats. We just heard from our reporter who was there. Hochul was actually booed. So why do you think that is? And what do Democrats need to do in order to tap into some of that excitement around Mamdani?
Okay, Errol, so this right now, what's happening in New York, it's a proxy, I think, for a larger discussion that's happening within the Democratic Party. There is a fight between the establishment and between non-establishment folks in the party. Zohran Mamdani is not of the establishment. He is someone who does not actually identify as an establishment Democrat, does not have the traditional support of establishment Democrats, and it makes establishment Democrats very uncomfortable. I think that Zohran Mamdani will very likely be the next mayor of New York City. I do think Cuomo's going to close probably a bit more impressively than some folks think, just because of the way the coalitions work in New York City. And Eric Adams dropping out, I actually think some support will consolidate behind Cuomo. But this is a larger discussion. It tails to Graham Plattner in Maine versus Janet Mills, the current governor of Maine, also a Democratic primary coming up in the next year. There is a fight within the Democratic coalition about should we do the thing we always do or should we do something different? And it actually mirrors what Republicans went through in the last decade as they kind of walked into the Trump era. I actually think Democrats are going through a very similar phenomenon right now.
Fascinating to watch. Glad we have you both to walk us through it all. Joel Payne and Kevin Sheridan. Enjoy your Mondays.